Good evening. What was that?
What did you hear?
Something.
It might be the computer. She's been working overtime, converting the odd jobs. The reason odd jobs wasn't hasn't been
Oh,
uploaded yet
of course.
is I managed to download it from Instagram.
Hmm.
Hi guys. And it downloaded in some strange format, so I finally managed to convert it. But
Oh,
it's taken a
no.
lot of engine power on my computer, so she's loud right now.
It, it reminds me of a meme that flashed up on my memories this morning, and it said, I didn't want to work 9 to 5, so I started my own business, and now I work 24/7. I was like, wow, yeah, that is the truth. It really got me thinking, like, because I really didn't want the normal 9 to 5, but I do work 24/7 for no money other than the love of it. So what was I thinking? Why can't I just conform like normal person?
Is why I'm not going to get too into politics, but that is why I believe in the political vision that I do, because people shouldn't just work for money. People aren't necessarily always motivated by money. Sure, it
Yeah.
helps, but if you already had that, you'd be able to make, what you're doing right now way easier,
Yeah, yeah.
and you'd be able to help
I'd still be doing what I was doing.
and helping people, because
Yeah.
that is the goal of this. The
Mm.
reason it hasn't launched super far, because we're ready to be famous, guys. We just need more people to know about us.
Yeah.
Is that people haven't heard about us yet, and just
It's
by
the power
getting
of the people rather than the power of the profit.
exactly, and if we didn't have to work, or our lives were solely focused on this, we could market the hell out of this.
Yeah, I was feeling that a little bit this week because the last literally 3 videos now have just not done as well as, and we did the
Yeah.
12 in the hope that would get us further on the algorithm. It seems to have done the opposite. We're getting far less.
Yeah.
We're getting more views of the other videos, but less impact on the videos as they go out weekly.
So I've been getting a little bit disheartened. I'm not
Yes.
gonna lie.
Mm.
Shed a few tears. No, I didn't actually tear, but I was like, what is going on? So I went in and I've looked at both of. There's 2 streams that stand out that just aren't doing as well. The live streams. I know
Yeah.
the videos tend to do a little bit
Yeah.
different anyway.
It's always the ones we think are going to do well don't and
Yeah,
vice versa.
in both of them, there is mentions of something that I'm not gonna say right
Yeah.
now.
Tell me after, like.
I'll tell you
So
after.
you think that might have been shadow banned slightly because of the topic?
Yeah, and if you don't preface these sorts of topics with a warning, or you don't put on stream like I disavow the words of this idiot, whoever's talking, if I'm
Okay.
showing something that isn't, it's
Oh no.
so yeah,
And
that might be my fault.
we're usually quite good at avoiding
Chins.
trying to avoid. Maybe that's why we're not going anywhere. We've got too many chins. Well, not enough
I've got so many chins to get famous. There's space for all of us. What am I doing?
chins. Just lost it now. This is
I have.
great. I'm going to screenshot those, and they will be your birthday.
No, but
It's usually me that gets like the violations, isn't it? Like the paused when it pauses, it's always my face like.
I've got the best one of you from like the first thing we filmed, and you're just laughing. And I've watched the whole thing. I don't remember I was talking to you,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Thing since filming ourselves, realizing I knew I had one of those faces that did lots of expressions anyway, but the
yeah.
extent of it,
I often got told that, like, oh God, your face is so expressionate. I
yeah.
didn't realize what they meant is I've got really like thin lips. That's kind of like thing about me. I've always wanted bigger lips, but I'm kind of okay with them.
They'll come
When
in
I
fashion
move,
soon. Big lips have been in fashion for so long that it's got to be little ones
that's what I mean.
soon.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
But they move in like they get stretched. They get in like a. And the amount of times I look at my mouth, I'm like, what is wrong with my mouth? It looks like I'm chewing on something. And but yeah, that's why I'm gonna get rid of actually being able to see that quite soon. Quite soon. I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hey Sarah, Tourmaline Queen, hello in the chat.
Shout out in the chat.
Are you having crazy weather again tonight? Because it is windy out there where we are.
My car about went over several lanes coming over this bridge.
I saw some horrific road rage on the way here because you know where the traffic, the roadworks are on the way into the village. There was a merge lane. It's like there's 4 lanes at the minute merging down to one. and there was 3 cars pressed together, determined not to let some poor sod merge. I mean, that's what we're meant to be doing, guys. That's why there's so much traffic. If we all just merged one by one and just kept the flow going instead of like playing this stupid cat and mouse game. Oh my goodness. It only annoys me because I just feel like you could show these people up by like, what are you doing? But there's never that opportunity to kind of, you know, they just bez off and that's the, like, you know, they give you the middle finger and they think they're the don and that's the end of that.
That's when you take the lesson to yourself and it like, I can't control anyone but myself.
Yeah,
sometimes that's enraging.
That's, I say to them, like, what is your problem? Like, you're meant to be letting people merge in, you absolute moron.
That's why I take a lot of people say hand it over to God. I more just rest on faith that I know that there is going to be karma down the road.
Yeah.
So they might have done that right now, but they are going to be so late to something that it costs them so much money that their girlfriend breaks up with them. It's tenfold for them. So I'm just like, off you speed. Ooh,
I did speed. I think people would be better people if karma was instant. And I know sometimes it is, but it's very rare, isn't it? It's more of a kind of cycle and a process. Or if it was obvious, like if they knew then that they spilt their drink down them the next day because they didn't let that guy merge.
When it happens, it's so sweet. It's right there.
Take it more seriously if it was a bit more.
If you don't think I'm taking that opportunity when you've been an idiot and karma's just happened to you to go, see, I need you to make the connection. I'll join them dots for you right there. Like, oh, maybe it's because you talk to me like an idiot.
It is windy there too. Maybe the wind, because the windy weather has always been renowned for causing behavior problems. So I'm like, maybe that's why there was a load of rage on the road.
I'm so intrigued. I need to learn more about this wind, and because it's a very like new understanding, right?
Well, this is something that when I first started working in education over 10 years ago now, like getting on for like 13 years ago when I started that first job, they used to record the weather on the behavior forms, but they'd stopped doing it by the time I started there.
Right. Okay.
So it was a connection made a long time ago that the weather will always affect the behavior. So if I wake up and it's windy, I know we're in for a kind of traumatic turmoil, kind of chaotic day.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I've Googled the live area. I've tried to find if there's any solid research.
Well, there's got to be, because governments or whatever, plan like mass, or they can predict like how the public will act on, like, you know, the hottest day of the year. They know that this will need a lot of like consumption. People will be buying a lot of ice. People will be buying a lot of ice cream. Like,
heat's always good.
You know that it's going to be making people angry, that there's idiots on the road. There might be a higher chance of people drinking and driving. Like they take these things into account in all other areas of life.
Yeah. That makes sense. That just made me giggle. I don't want to swear on this early into the stream. It rhymes with Bangkok, goes with Wednesday.
I think it says
Wednesday.
Wonka, which is very fitting with our
Wonka Wednesday.
Oh, Willy Wonka Wednesday. Welcome.
Do you want to talk about the intro, or do you want to bring it on the other side of the intro?
Do you know what? I've got a small clip just to get you excited for it's just a small little thing that I want to show you guys. If you haven't...
Oh, is this for the Willy Wonka? I know which bit this is as well. I have been the person amongst my friendship group that's like, have you heard this story? Have you seen all the footage? It's hilarious.
I get it. It's old. If you haven't already heard about this weeks ago, I'm sorry. We'll be covering it really briefly, I promise.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard, like, I'd never heard of that, and people were all over it, you know?
Stay tuned to where Kate Middleton is hiding as well. I do know. I'll let you know at the end.
She's responsible for editing our photo.
Don't skip forward as well. Honestly, you'll get it when you get it. But yeah, what do you think of this?
It's the unknown.
Why is it like this? The haters should be loved, we invite in. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of haters should be loved, we invite in. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous.
Me out.
She knew to check me. Thank God.
No, but I'm chuffing myself. This technophobe is learning.
So I don't know if you saw that video before we cut to the intro. Well, first the outro and then the intro because I had to try and figure out what was going on there. That was a creature called the Unknown. And what do you mean? What are you looking at me like that for? You've heard of Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
It's a well-known storybook that we've known since we were children, that our parents have known since they were children.
Is this the Mandela effect? Is this part of the book that's now added in to our memory?
You may remember him as, what was his name? Guy that stole. It's a completely different character. Obviously, the IP is very expensive, and you cannot just take Willy Wonka, which is why it is called.
Oh, is that what it's actually called? Willie McDuff.
Willie McDuff.
Willie's chocolate.
Let's get us reacting for it. I want to see our beautiful faces as it happens. Willie McDuff, the Willie's Chocolate Experience. Again, if you haven't heard about this already, I'm very sorry. I mean, if you have, I'm sorry. If you haven't, step in.
It should be Willy Bonker's chocolate experience, you know.
It's insane.
Billy Wonka.
It's absolutely insane. So on the, I forgot what date it was now, but at the start of this month, I believe the 1st. She started well, guys. She started well. I've got the information here, hopefully. Okay, so I'm an idiot. I didn't find
a few weeks ago. The actual website for it.
That was the actual website.
Wow, no wonder. So people pay. Oh, it does say March the 1st in the top corner. That's where you've got that from.
So this is the archive web. This is just like when you can see what web pages look like before they've been taken down or edited or whatever.
I mean, that looks amazing.
So good, right?
Yeah.
All these different, like, it tells you enchanted garden. Your journey begins with an enchanted garden with giant sweets. I mean, as you start to read it, and I'll let you do it in your own time because we are just briefly going through this. The writing is very strange. Oh,
is it?
And
Too well.
join me over here.
Imagination.
You can see that AI was definitely used in the creation of these adverts.
Yeah, so that's why because what I was trying to work out was how did they manage to do this so well in terms of looking at that when I've seen the result and it was not pulled off well at all.
Oh, you didn't like it? You were not.
It's the first I heard of it, somebody said this was so bad that it was good type thing. The way they worded it made me smile.
Getting live performance. That Sweet Teats is my favorite at the
Carchy
end.
tons.
Pasadise, Carchy tuns, Exorcerde, lollipops. And yeah, you should know from the first instance, right? If this is being advertised, do not spend your money on
They
it.
probably didn't even check the site, you know, to that extent. People have just seen those.
There is a good chance.
It just shows what people will pay. Because it's £35 a ticket, wasn't it?
55 a ticket.
Yeah.
And to be fair, you
The
think
police
you were getting a bargain. Look at this place. I mean, obviously, it's just a
Generated.
artistic impression, but like, it's got to be something like it, right?
Do you know what? When I actually at first felt quite sorry for them purely because this is like me and Steph having these great expectations for a party we're going to pull off and what we visualize it looking like. And then this is still going to cost quite a lot of money. That's still quite a few £100 worth of props going on there. I mean, I get that they'd sold tickets for £35 a pop and they've obviously made a fortune. But even that rainbow arch, that's like 200 quid, isn't it? You know, so and then it just not being enough to fill the room. You know, you think that you've been ripped off yourself with that background.
I looked at these for our Halloween thing. Very similar backdrops. They aren't cheap.
No, they're not cheap. And you would expect it's going to fill that wall. And then when it turns out, oh, God, it doesn't quite fill the wall, you know.
Right, fill the wall.
Can you imagine the kind of us two being like, oh, no, it just doesn't look how we envisioned it to look. It is like the ADHD nightmare, the expectation versus what you actually pull off.
The problem is that But up until the night before, they knew that it was going to be this bad.
Yeah.
And you should have just been cancelling it. I know
Yeah.
we would have cancelled it if we were charging people that, like,
Yeah.
the amount of times we have finished an event or got it set up and just gone, I don't care what it looks like now. I don't care if people
Well,
enjoy
and
it
that's
or
'cause
not.
we're doing them for free and asking for donation. Charging that. We're going wrong with it. Maybe we should be charging £35 a head.
Yeah, honestly, we did a much better job at the Halloween thing that we did than
Yeah.
this.
There's us lot dressed up as as the people making meth.
These poor ladies being branded meth heads.
The interviewed, weren't they, on Good Morning Britain or whatever?
So I've only heard about these two girls because, or that they've like been out there talking about it because H3 had both of them on.
Yeah, yeah.
And Ethan Klein, hero, paid them what they were owed from the
Oh,
scammer.
bless them. Yeah, that's the thing. I did think that when I saw the pictures, I thought they've just gone in there to work. You know, they don't.
Yeah.
It's not them. Well, I assumed it wasn't them, but I saw the thing. They were told to give the kids 2
1 to 3
jelly beans, yeah, and then half a cup of lemonade.
3/4 cup. I saw it. Some of it's got a bit of lemon in, so it like made it higher. But yeah, these girls, I'm sure they said the same on this morning that why would you stay? Well, you've got all these kids coming in one after another, excited for a day, and you just like, I can't let these kids down.
Your work ethic at the end. You've been hired to do a job, so you stay and you do your job. It's not
100%.
them thinking, "Oh my God, I'm in trouble here," because it obviously wasn't them that organised the whole thing.
And it's easy to like laugh at them and be like meth head, and I'm sure she's like herself, but
Oh, bless them.
she yeah, they
It
are
does
the
look
true angels here.
Yeah.
They didn't have to do.
Shout.
So thankfully we have people in like this in the world. Now the unknown, we saw a little clip before. The unknown, I cannot remember the bad guy's name in, is it Sugworth or something like that? Slugworth. The original Willy Wonka, it was the guy that wanted to steal the recipe.
Yeah.
Didn't see him that often. He was a very like small, but obviously stealing the IP, you can't really do anything like that. So randomly, kids were just getting scared halfway through around this person that comes out of the walls and just steals chocolate.
I said this to Steph earlier, but it genuinely screams that whole, I've got a great idea at 4 a.m. at a party, and then this is what you end up coming up with.
I don't know if you've seen the footage of the guy being confronted as well, but he's like tweaking, he's like moving, he's like shit, he just looks, I didn't realise, I'd watched that clip so many times because it had been on H3 and on the internet.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I showed Nick and he was like, look at his mouth, look at his face, and I thought, oh my God, he's on
He's
something.
on drugs.
Whether it's because he's like so stressed that he's like,
Yeah,
I need to.
I don't know. My compassion is obviously clearly too high because I'm like, oh.
Yeah, this is the problem with AI, guys. Be careful because it will steal your money, and what if you think you just have to be online for it to ruin your life? Definitely not.
What literally, when it comes to the entrepreneurial side of things that's gone into this, 10 out of 10. The actual execution, on the other hand, 2 out of 10. But like the idea is there, they've done the website.
To be fair, I've seen videos of it, and the kids are having fun, and it's
Yeah.
just like you can imagine being like, it's about imagination. That's what we're doing it.
There, let's just literally hire the Leicester Sports Centre, and we'll just be like, you just have to imagine that it's there.
That is
We
this.
just call it the imagination room.
This imagination is the same as us saying it's different.
We could do a workshop on that. Just literally, just imagine.
You can just to be.
You
Let's
could be anywhere right now.
It's what you make it.
Speaking of imagination, that's quite what books are, isn't it?
Yes, 100%, and that gives us a right good link to today's topic, which is World Book Day, celebrated last Thursday.
Mhm.
But before we do that, I wanted to pay a little tribute, not necessarily a long one, just mentioning very quickly that Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, or the Dragon Ball series, one of the most influential artists, anime artists of our generation, inspired so many more mangas and animes to be created, and he was only 68, so I know a lot of his fans were waiting for like what he was going to next be producing and putting out there. So yeah, it's really sad, man. So did you really?
One of my exes was obsessed with it. He used to get up at 6 in the morning on a Sunday to wait for I think it released in America or something to watch the new episode.
That's really sweet. I know I know a lot of men that are like, on the outward, you'd be like, they're into football, they're quite
Yeah.
like hard men, they like rap or whatever. Get to know most guys, they like Dragon Ball Z.
Come forth, you're not dead, are you? That kind of thing. And I said something
Hello.
about moved on to, it was like, all right, sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's like, well, he's got other things that he's probably into now.
Or he's just like, please, like, it's too important to me for you to be mocking me. So to even be that, like, I'm not talking about it.
Yeah.
They are serious about it. I remember the film came out and there was boyfriends everywhere like, look, I'll take you with me, but you can't ask me one question.
Yeah.
Do not talk to me throughout the whole thing. Get enough popcorn sweets for yourself that you never have to bother me throughout the whole thing. If you can't do that, stay home. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give him a special mention.
No. Pretty influential manga art and all of that, isn't it? It's a real big hot topic.
Yeah, definitely. So big up to not the Willy Wonka dude,
No.
but definitely big ups to Kira Toriyama. Shout out. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, but I'm a fan of a lot of the stuff that was inspired by that. One Piece being one of them. But anyway, let's move on. Books.
Yes, reading, my favorite thing in the world. My only savior.
I feel like if anyone knows anything about you, it's that.
Yeah, they know. But I mean, even the whole double-decker bus idea is because I wanted a book bus. So, when it's completed, that's the idea, that people can come and donate books they don't want anymore, and they can also take books.
I love that idea. Yeah, they can travel around
Yeah.
and like offer like some bean bags to just chuck out or
Exactly.
whatever, and
Exactly.
like
Connect over literacy and bring literacy to, because there's so many areas that I think I heard a statistic on the news the other day, like 1 in 5 kids don't own a book, or is it even higher than that? So it's kind of, for me, it's that dream of bringing the opportunity to own a book
right.
to all these areas that perhaps. And the other thing is, a lot of libraries have closed down, haven't they? They've gone to community funded, or
yeah. One in Loughborough, which Loughborough isn't small. It's got like a huge university campus, which just shows how much they use that rather than this small local one, because I think it's open 2 days of the week for about 4 hours each day.
Yeah, they've gone to smart. A lot of them have got smart opening times, which actually, if you've got your card and you know how to use it, it's brilliant. So I can take my students to a smart library. It's not even manned, and we've almost got the place to ourselves, like a big classroom.
Loughborough had that, and then COVID came in and they got rid of it, and they've just never reverted back.
Yeah.
Which is bad. Any council that currently doesn't have their library open and more accessible, sort that out.
One of our posters is in Loughborough Library.
Oh,
Isn't there?
I love
Long
that.
time. You can down now, like most that post. What is this?
I'll go replace it.
I'll tell you, free mental health.
How dare you try and help us?
The amount of things I've come up against with that, people taking, like, I've gone, like, in the library in my village, for example, I went in during a smart time, so there was no staff.
Okay, yeah.
And put a couple of posters up, and then when I went back in, they'd all been taken down. It was like, all right, like, it's literally free help for parents.
Free help, my love. I tried posting it on a ADHD Reddit page for ADHD support, and they were like, stop advertising paid like products, and I was like, it's free, you can download them for like
they're not paid for. People just don't understand that. I think if we charged, we would get more people coming on. I think they just think, what do you mean it's free? Where's the catch?
Yeah, whatever.
Hi, great to have you in the chat.
Hello, welcome to World Book Day, which is exciting for some. I think Kat is one of them. You've got a tradition where you swap books constantly. You gift each other.
On Christmas Eve, we always give each other a book, and quite often our presents to each other at birthdays and stuff, and we always swap books. Yeah,
really lovely.
In fact, one of my books that I've brought along, Kat got me. Well, in fact, Kat got me this one. Both my Judge Judy books.
Well, she's got that book.
This was my birthday present, I think it was last year. because
Indio Warrior by Lisa Andrews, is that?
yeah, and weirdly, when I was collecting some books up to talk about, I realised there's hardly any. I only really enjoy fiction books, and yet hardly any of these are fiction, which is bizarre.
It's really interesting.
The ones, obviously, my books that have product placement in the back there, they're fiction books. But yeah, when I was looking, I think it's because if you're thinking of, when it comes to fiction books, I can consume those and I'll forget as quickly as I've read them what the titles were. And plus, I've got boxes and boxes of books at the minute. There's not many on my actual shelves. Whereas the non-fiction books, you know, like Invisible Women, they've impacted me because they are packed with research and they are, you know, they are full of real things, as it were.
It's like lessons you've learned are attributed to them. They kind of connect to it, and you're like, I remember this book because it taught me this, and now my life's better than it.
Yeah. I mean, this Indigo Warrior, for anyone out there that doesn't know what an indigo child is, it's apparently if you believe in this kind of stuff like I do,
we need to do a whole episode on
yeah,
this sort of stuff.
for sure. But it's a type of soul that's born on this earth on purpose to change the human race. So reading this was so bizarre because I'm going to let my mum read it because she's going to be blown away. Like, that is describing you. And it even says in there that you'll be wrongly diagnosed as ADHD, as having an attention deficit because you've got so much energy to give, and you don't fit in, and you don't fit in because you aren't an earth soul. You've come here to kind of like point the human race in a different direction. It's really, really interesting.
Savers.
Yeah, but anybody that's like finds themselves drawn to teaching, to police, to nursing, those kind of where you're like so purposeful driven,
Yeah,
is likely could be an indigo soul.
like something that stands out to me that makes me think, you know, if I was to subscribe to this, maybe I am an indigo child, is the thing that you said about the average things that happen in life will bother you. You'll be like, that's so obvious to fix. Why can't you just fix that? And it feels like you're looking at a bunch of people in charge that haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Or you're like looking at certain people around you, like, doesn't this bother you? And they're like, no, not really. And you're like, ah!
Yeah, I wish I wasn't bothered by that.
And that just makes me think of every time I'm like, Shala's arm, and everyone around me's like, stop.
It's that passion, isn't it? Like my passion for reading and teaching and trying to better humans up. Sometimes I'm like, I wish I wasn't bothered. It'd be such a more peaceful life, you know, like, why am I so bothered? Where is that burning desire coming from?
Amen, man. Amen.
So you should perhaps have a flick through this and like see how you feel about.
We'll have a flick through, but I feel like that highlights something that I was going to go into next. That reading for me is very different to reading for you, and I've gathered a short Instagram that I think will illustrate what it's like when I read.
Very good, but do you like it? Look at you, you're so cute reading a book in public. Do you think you're better than everybody else? Do you think that they think that you think you're better than them? They're like 2 miles away. They probably hate you. They probably just wanted this public park all to themselves on a Saturday, but you're here, so you kind of ruined it for them, didn't you? I don't think they're thinking. Are you embarrassed? Don't be. You shouldn't be. You should be relaxed. Relax. Relax. Could you stop? What a beautiful day. Wow. Do you have to pee? Do you think you'll have to pee anytime in the next 2 hours? Would you mind if I... You should probably go pee then, shouldn't you? You should be getting your steps anyways. Why are you sitting down? That's kind of a waste of time. What did you just read? You don't know what you just read? Did you ever learn how to read? Are you sure? Prove it. Prove it. Could you stop? Tell me every single word that you read on this page right now. Stop. That does look like a good book. What if I just... What was that? That was weird. I didn't like that. I didn't like it either. Do it again. Should I do it again? What are you doing? Glasses? Sometimes I think I need glasses. Does that make you feel special not being able to see? I bet it does. Anyway, loser, enjoy your books.
Yeah, by then you've given.
That is me.
That is hilarious.
Literally,
I think so many ADHD people will relate to that.
So shout out to Elise Myers. Go follow her on Instagram.
That is hilarious.
So they're not followed because I'm not signed in on this computer, but I am. Oh, believe me, I get every upload she has. If you need to find her Instagram, and there's Elise Myers. And as you can see, I've screenshotted it from my thing. I am following. Haha. Not that you didn't believe me. It's triggered me. Reading is a struggle for adults and children with ADHD alike. Many children with ADHD have difficulty with reading comprehension, while both adults and kids with ADHD tend to lose interest, miss details and connections, lose track of where they are on the page, and become easily distracted. And this is 45% of us ADHDers that struggle
I
with this
feel like
reading.
the other 55% hyper focus on reading. Every
100%.
like,
Reading can be at a detriment to some. You will escape all of life's needs and the things that the responsibilities and
For
get
me,
lost in a book.
I don't know how I'd have survived ADHD without reading being one of my hyper focuses. Because, for example, when I'm traveling and you're in an airport,
Yeah.
waiting around and the anxiety and all of that, I literally just sit and read and read and read and read and read, and it saves me. I can do anything as long as I can read.
Wait, yeah, airports are so stressful.
I don't want to be smug about that because it's not like this
Yeah.
is the other thing. You either enjoy reading and you can do it, for pleasure, or you don't. You can't force that.
Yeah, I fully get. You know what? The only time I've been able to fly stress-free was the last time I went away when I went to go and visit my mum last year. Was it last year? The year before? Oh God, that was so long ago. When you just remember. Anyway, last time that was, I planned my whole journey to the point of like what restaurants would be, what cafes would be in each of the airports that I was going to, what was near it, how long I would spend at each thing, all the different options, and also planned a vlog and to which podcasts I'd listen to. And just having that structure, which like, I get it, I know, it helps. It really did.
Pointing that out.
It's yeah, pointing it to myself would be really helpful.
Need.
I love that.
Read one up that part.
You've got like a Kindle or whatever. You don't even need to take all these books.
I remember the first, because I was quite like a traditionalist, like, I don't want a Kindle, I'll read books forever.
It's a nice feeling,
And
right?
then I bought my first Kindle and I was like, oh my God, I can download. And even now I've just got the Kindle app on my phone and it's like, I can just download a book whenever I want. But don't get me wrong,
Not
sometimes
sponsored.
I need to get off screen. So for me, reading a book, I couldn't lay in bed reading on my screen. It's like a Kindle screen's completely different. It's not backlit or whatever. It's not bright. So, but on the phone,
I think that's what I'd prefer.
yeah,
The non-backlit thing.
yeah. But I just wanted to find this. So whilst I was watching the Instagram thing, it would look like I was a bit distracted, but it's because I wanted to find this to show you as well. My friend sent me this. It's it's called Habio app or Habio app. But yeah, it says a new hack, which is being hailed as a blessing for people with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, can help people read books almost twice as fast and with more focus, which I was giggling because I was like, wow, I'm going to consume literature. It's not like that. HBIO. Don't break the chain. What is the don't break the chain? Oh yeah, I think it is. I think it's actually
Is it?
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't know why they're not using it in the write up though, because basically what it does is it highlights the first 2 or 3 letters of each word, puts them as bold. Oh no, that's type in HABIO reading.
HABIO reading.
See
Sonic reading? That looks like the
image that I've got on my phone.
when you put the
Yes, that's
capital.
it. So it's that. And apparently, how is the hack implemented? It employs a special technique which helps readers by directing their eyes with artificial fixation points as they read. Using this method, the reader only concentrates on the initial letters that have been highlighted, which allows the reader's brain to fill in the rest of the word. Oh, this is available in the Habio app. Try it today. So this is actually what it is. But yeah, Switzerland, renowned for reading, they are, aren't they?
Really?
Yeah, well, I think that's where we got our Christmas Eve tradition from. Me and Kat, I'm sure it is.
Oh, very cool.
But anybody that's tried this, let me know, because I got sent it by a friend who said she was going to try it, so I'll see if she has. And I obviously don't really struggle with reading, but she does.
Okay. So is it an app where you can download books and have them given to you like this, or is it like a translation thing where it applies to the rest, like
I have
an
no
add-on?
idea. Say if you can read, whether books have to be added to that for you to be able to read read specifically that book. It'll say somewhere, won't it? But
Interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, if anyone's tried it, let us know.
let us know if you've tried it, because
That might be a good reading
I
tip.
think that might be particularly, because I'm quite a dyslexic reader in the sense that I'll miss out words and I read words wrong, but I always notice when I'm doing it. So I wonder if that might be something that's helpful for
It helps you
dyslexic.
catch the detail as you're going along.
And it kind of snags your eyes. I'm not sure.
That makes sense. I actually, in the comments section of our Instagram, there's a fantastic, it's Kitty P Chops. I think I mentioned her last time, or them last time. I actually have no idea what gender they are, nor should I assume. Who do I think I am? But it's fantastic. Did I just shoot? Dare I? The their partner, their wife, is a editor for several worldwide romance authors.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, that's so cool. But she, or them themselves, I don't know. It's because I say kitty. They are not very good at reading or struggle with reading, just like me. But they said something that helps them is having a soundtrack. So if you've got a certain genre, putting some like, I don't know, some music on in the background that helps put you in.
I wanted to release a CD to go with Mega High.
Why don't we?
Because I was like, well, I suppose you'd have to get the rights of the tracks that you wanted to. Because when I was in Magaluf, there were certain songs that were playing, and I was like, how cool would it be that as you're reading the book, the kind of soundtrack goes along with it, so that it's not quite having the book read to you? Because a lot of people with ADHD struggle with how slowly audiobooks are read.
Yeah.
So for me, I read super quick. So it's like having an audiobook that's going slowly. It's like, come on, come on, come on, come on. Whereas it might help other people.
Music, music helps set the pace of certain things, doesn't it? Like shopping or anything you do. So yes, that'd be a really cool thing to use alongside it.
Going back to the reading and the ADHD thing, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you might actually feel like you're missing out. That, I always say to my students, don't worry if you're not a reader. I'm never going to stand here at the front of class and make you read and force you into believing like you're a failure because you don't enjoy reading. That's absolutely fine that you don't enjoy it. But I am a massive advocate for having the skill to be able to read, because you can make, if you've got to sign contracts and you sign the contracts and then say, well, I didn't know what it said. That's not going to stand up in court. That's not, the person's problem. It's your problem. You don't sign a contract if you don't know what it says. So recently I've been kind of really trying to get it, because a lot of them will say, oh, school don't teach me anything that I need to know for when I'm older. Well, I tell you now, reading is something you're going to need, because
I'm here to let you know, here's one thing.
yeah. So we did like an argument in PHSE last week of, I put the statement on the board that reading is dangerous for your health. Do you agree? And it was brilliant because they were really arguing about whether it could possibly be dangerous for your health to not be able to read. And some of them, some had got the answers in terms of you can get somebody to help you and blah, blah, blah. And some had got the answers in terms of saying, well, how can you read your report from the doctors? Or how could you read what ingredients were in something if you'd got an allergy? Or how could you read a sign and it was so good to hear them actually. I was like, come on, you're debating. This is great,
I love that.
And you're not falling out. You've just got these opinions about things.
It's always a bonus when they're not arguing and beating each other up.
Yeah. But I could get to the younger generation, because mine are obviously teenagers. By the time they get to me, the damage is done, the stage is set. And what I would say to parents is, don't force a kid to read, but read to them. It's just as beneficial to have heard loads of stories, and to enjoy the process. So I'll say to some of my younger ones, when I used to tutor younger students, I'd be like, oh, I tell you what, then we'll read a page each. And then sometimes they'd bargain even more, like, oh, can't you read 2 to my 1? I'd be like, go on then, and I'd make them believe that they were really winning that situation. But I'm going to read 2 or 3 pages in the spare time it takes you to read half a page anyway. So it's not, you're actually going to hear more by getting me to read more. And it's just about the enjoyment factor. It's about being exposed to the vocabulary. Because one of the things at the minute, they're studying for exams. Every single exam paper that we've practiced this week, they don't know what the words mean. So the
Right,
word
okay.
delay came up today. What does the word delay mean? And they're like, they know, but not enough to explain it.
Right, yeah.
And it's like, because they've not been exposed to stories and literature and vocab, I'm now at this position where they're meant to be taking exams. They didn't know what delay meant. They didn't know what debt meant.
Right, okay.
You know, so you're then going, oh my God, every single exam paper, I'm having to put up a new poster explaining what that word means. They're not going to pass the exam when they don't even know what the words being used mean.
Right,
I
yeah.
did, because I was reading, I was being read to, you know, there was literature in the house, I was being exposed to it. So it's really, really
Yeah.
important that even if your kid absolutely hates reading, that you're still exposing them to the vocabulary somehow.
Yeah, definitely. I know when I was growing up, my reading schedule was right before bed. The first book, there was 2 books. The first one I read, and it was like Magic Key sort of thing.
Oh, Biff, Chip and Hippo.
I'd read that to my mum, and then because of ADHD, that'd tire me out. That's already so. The second book, my mum would read to me. By that time, I'm already tired. I'm already ready for a
Yeah.
book, and it was like I've 2 different kinds of absorption there.
Yeah, and that's even with reading, you learn a lot from the flow, from the pace, from where you take pauses and breaks. Even like putting in tone of voice, is it called inflection? Is that what-
Inflection, yeah.
You know, all of those things are so beneficial, like to your learning.
Yeah.
So there's so many ways that you're still going to learn, even if they never read to you and you're just reading to them, it's still going to be beneficial.
I think we underestimate how much reading can really like mold you as you're growing up as well. Like, I mean, I'm ready to talk about my childhood favorites, but I know that the books that I got into as a kid, as a teenager, that I'd be like, oh, I'd come away from after reading them, and my language would be what was used in that book. I'd be talking like, or I'd be like, oh, I wish I was that character, using the language they would. It'd expand my vocabulary.
And expand your understanding of what's possible, because you're reading about you know, this culture in the Middle East or something, then you're reading about Australia, then you're reading about somebody that was brought up in a middle class family in comparison to working class family. It's like you're gonna learn about all these different people. It's a way of escaping your environment.
Definitely.
I'm worried that people might be saying stuff in the chat, although last time I said this,
Oh,
nobody was.
You're just highlighting that no one's talking. Oh wait, it's on this bit. Sorry, my bad.
Oh, that's okay. Nobody is.
Talking. Oh my god, we've missed so many. Oh my god, sorry. Yep. Welcome. Shout out to people in London.
If you've got questions about how to get your child to read, ask them. Even if you're watching this on playback, put it in the comments and I'll do my best to help you, because like I say, I've worked in education for so many years and tutored and helped support families, and I know that it's a real stress of parents because they're being told by the teachers, you need to read so many books a week, blah 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 blah. But my biggest thing is read to them, find stuff that they enjoy reading and help them read that way. By it doesn't matter if it's a magazine, it doesn't matter.
Comic books is reading. It might be small, but it's helping the digestion of that information.
Reading to them is still absolutely fine as well. One of the other products that I wanted to make was like I wanted to write the story and then provide a full dress up kit as well. So you could dress up the room, dress up as the characters, and kind of immersive reading. But I think all these things are being done these days. It's
Like, do it as a comic book. Is that being done? Like where you are the superhero and you get to actively
put the cape on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it probably is being done, but we could definitely do it. But it's just sourcing all of the individual little parts.
And it will let you know, we'll get AI to completely design all of it and we'll take your money ASAP. My favourite books. I'm sorry, I can't contain myself.
Yeah.
I got so excited that I just wanted to draw some of my things. So I don't know if any of them ring a bell to anyone. But teenage years.
Jacqueline Wills.
Louise Renninson was the Angus Thongs in the
I
series.
do.
Full Frontal. Do not believe the hype of the film. It's named wrong. Then we've got Mog the Forgetful Cat. Little did I know there's an adult I would have a cat that's basically Mog. He's exactly the same. And then as Peace at Last. I don't know if anyone read this. if no one's read it, it was literally just a story about a daddy bear getting no sleep. And it's hilarious to think how little I was able to sleep as an adult going. And it's like,
You
did that
manifested all this.
all these problems are foreshadows as a kid, but these books, or they just remind me. Jacqueline Wilson, oh my God, there was like Vicky Angel, and I remember everyone was like that first chapter was like an argument or like a funny thing happening with her best friend, and then her friend getting like hit by a car,
Oh
and
my
like it
gosh.
was a really like. But I remember teenage girls being like, "I want to read Vicky Angel," picking it up and being like, Vicky- puberty.
Makes you cry though. Good Night, Mr. Tom was what I read. I think I read that
Oh,
about 9 years old. My teacher lent it to me because I'd read every single book at primary school. So he started bringing in books from home for me.
completed it, mate.
And oh my God, I remember that was the first book that really made me cry. But it also was one that really made me laugh. Like when he said about the neighbor having kittens because he was so scared of the bombs. But I couldn't stop laughing at that saying.
It's having kids.
He's having kittens.
That is a weird idiom. Is that an idiom?
Yeah, I think so. One of my friends surprised me this week by sending me a draft over to edit, like just to put the punctuations in correctly of a little book that she'd written for her daughter.
Oh, I love that.
And it was, well, I hope that she doesn't mind me sharing what it was called because it was just the most amazing title. It was,
Everybody take it.
yeah, well, you can't.
IP's taken. Can't do it.
You're a lizard, Larry, as in like, you're a wizard, Harry. You're a lizard, Larry, and it's the cutest story about a lizard wanting to be all these different things, and it's like it's amazing. So any kids publishers watching this, we've got a book for you.
Genius name. I love that.
You know, she's ADHD, and it just made me think. I wonder how many authors are actually ADHD because you know, you've got all of these ideas. And when we've spoke about it before, people in the chat straight away have been asking, you know, for advice on how they can get their book written down. And it must only be us that are foolish enough to sit and spend 200 hours.
Yeah, it makes me think of all the people that are discouraged because they struggle with reading. They've got all these ideas, but then the idea of getting it down on paper or like being able
Yeah.
to plan an entire book is like, oh, you're made to think from an early age. You can't even write a small essay, let alone a book. And it's like,
Yeah, that's the thing. I couldn't write essays. I used to do really badly in my English exams, and the teachers used to be so shocked every time. Like, what happened? You smash it in class. Nobody ever picked up on the fact that there was a reason for that. You know, it was just I suppose then internalized it was me. I was the reason. You know, that for some reason I could perform and I knew what I was meant to be doing, but I couldn't pull it off when it counted.
that's what we do, man.
Mm,
We took that brunt.
we did indeed.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful. But you know what? It actually makes me think about you're excelling with like getting completed it, mate. You've read all the books in this classroom. Here's some adult literature for you, Lindsay. My best friend growing up through school was exactly the same.
Yeah.
And you know, you get to that certain thing where like you've got nothing to do right now. Get your book out and just do some reading, quiet reading to yourself. And you get to a certain age where you'd bring your own book. You were no longer like
Yeah.
relying on the books in the classroom. And every time this happened, it seemed like my best friend had a different book. And I'm like, are you even reading these? And she's like,
Yeah, whipping through them.
I must have had this same book for about 5 years.
Right, just like you're turning up to school with that one.
I'd actually be like, you're having a laugh. There's no way you're still reading that. And I'd be like, I am. And my bookmark would be like that close into the start of it. It'd be like so embarrassing. But that literally looks like us on the front when we were at school.
Oh, that is so cool.
The
See, you've just touched upon a thing there that really hurts me as a teacher. That fact that every kid, every person develops at different rates and has different interests and different abilities. And yet you're made to feel like such an idiot if reading isn't something that A, you enjoy, or B, that you're good at. And it is that kind of, you know, you're the nerd or you're the boffin of the class and you're the teacher's pet if you're a good reader in comparison to the ones that aren't. It's almost seen as a sign of intelligence, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it's, you know, if it made me predict my future, like, oh, I just won't ever, I need a job where I can't read anything, where I don't need to read or write or anything. If I could have got hold of that little girl and been like,
Don't worry.
5 years to read this,
Yeah.
but when you are 26, you are going to get a first class degree.
Yeah. Quote, is it at all?
Not at all.
Well, book day, because I took in my books to show them because it always makes them see me in this different light. They're like, what? You've written books? I'm like, and there's swear words in there. You know, like I'm like, look at the chapter list, there's swear words. But yeah, one got quite defensive and he was like, I hate reading. And you could tell he was getting quite confrontational, where he was expecting me as the teacher to kind of come back at him with, oh, well, me. And I was like, no, that was it. He said, I don't see how anyone can read for pleasure. And I was like, well, I don't see how anyone can not. You know, and just like laughed. And he was like, yeah, but how can you read for fun? I went, yeah, but how can you not read for fun? And I was like, don't worry. I was like, if you don't want to read for fun, that's fine. And, you know, like, I'm not going to tell you should, but like for me, I absolutely love reading for fun. That is something I totally do.
Could you watch the egg scrambling in his brain as
Yeah,
just giving it back to him? Like, I don't know if you could. He's like,
like, why is she not arguing with me? I tell you what, though, one thing that I have started to realize is that I've suffered with burnout more this year than ever. And I think it's because I've not been drinking, and then I gave up smoking as well. And both of those things were things that I'd relied on as downtime activities.
yeah.
So it's like I'd have a night off to get drunk, and then I would have 2 days off after to recover. Or I would have a 20-minute break to sit and have a smoke. And have a
See
bit of
what you mean, yeah.
each day I would have this downtime moment. So although I'd still sometimes work when I was smoking, because it'd be like a concentration tool, it was very much still a downtime
See
thing.
what you mean.
And now there's no downtime. It's like I'm doing things. I've got all this time. I've got all this energy, you know. And there's never. So I've had to literally. Lou bought me this book. I've bought another book that I'm reading at the minute. I've had to actively start buying more books because.
Judge Rinder.
Yeah.
No way.
And
We love the
Judge
judges.
Rinder's books, yeah, no, I love the justice system. Clearly, of course, got justice issues.
Didn't know Judge Rinder was actually a judge. That's really cool.
Yeah, no, he is trained
That's
as a
up.
barrister, yeah, and a very good fiction writer as well. So if you do like whodunits, though, this is the book that I ran back into fetch, because this is a whodunit.
Ooh,
It's
O.J.
really,
Ross.
really good. And if anyone wants to buy me the next one, I'll happily receive it, because it got right to the end and I thought it had all been wrapped up nicely in a bow. And then there was a twist. Fuming, because now I'm a bit annoyed because I didn't want the drama to continue. But on the other hand, it was such an entertaining book.
What is the second one called?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I wanted to look at. If anyone wondered why it took me so long to read it and why I didn't give up, it's because in it, there's a load of, so ADHD. What were you talking about? I'm talking about this now.
Oh, little like kind of, I loved them. Are they like a puzzle, is that? Or is it just the fact that it was visual that you liked it?
In it, there is loads of,
Little notes.
I won't say who it's between, but yeah, there's little messages that need to be decoded.
Oh, cool.
And
Just, yeah, me and my friend would like pass things backwards and forwards like that. So it is just what you do in class.
And I'd sit there and I'd be like, I don't know. And Erin would lean over and be like, well, that means that. And that means, and I'm like, oh yeah, not only is she better at reading, she can connect the dots a lot better for me as well. But I remember having so much fun.
Doing that part.
Because you could also have fun like saying the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And you end up with a funny sentence. Took me ages to get through it, but I'm telling you, it was a wicked book.
A bit of
Ages it for.
oh, what's that superhero book called? Captain Superpants, or what is it
Hey,
called?
that rings a bell.
It
right?
was a film recently. It's not Superpants, Underpants, Captain Underpants. Those books, they're partly written like typed, but then they're also, because they're about two kids that do comic books. In the book itself, it keeps switching to the comic book.
Oh,
So reading
okay.
those with my students is. That's the thing. Not only have I read like loads of my books, but because I read with my students, or not so much now, I'm not tutoring youngsters as much anymore, but I'd be like reading different books. Yeah, those books, they are a lot of fun. And those kids are definitely neurodivergent kids as well. So it's quite nice having because they're very mischievous and naughty. The kids are.
So they can see themselves within the literature.
Yeah, yeah. But
That's wicked.
Yeah, they're really good. So this is the thing, I think when young people as well say, oh, I hate reading, I do say to them, you've probably just not found something that
Yes.
you've enjoyed reading yet. That is definitely a
Yeah.
big part of it.
I didn't realise that books get smutty. They get rude.
Yeah.
Some of the most... I'd be like... My mum would lend me a book and I'd be like...
Yeah, like,
read this. And I'd be like, Mum, bit. She's like, good bit, innit? And I'd be like, what on earth? I also didn't know that, like you said earlier, books could make you laugh. As you're
Yes.
reading it, it's creating this, like, what's happening in your mind. And I remember sitting
Hilarious.
there on a beach, laughing my head off, like tears. I couldn't see the next line. And then just all of a sudden being like, this is a book.
Yeah, how am I laughing?
I'm on my own, in the quiet.
Yeah. I love that. Books make me laugh out loud. Like, gosh, I mean, and I get it's so frustrating because I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but I've read some hilarious books in my time.
Yeah, do you know what? I will give one a shout out just because it's my mum's friend, someone that she went to school with. It's called Escape Route.
Well, Steph said in that as well, sexy books. When I remember going to the library and I would purposefully hunt out the ones that had like a 15 sticker on, because our library used like a system with the teenage bit of if it should have been 15 and above, and I'd be like, oh yeah, if it's got the 15 and the arrow, then chances are that it's going to be and I'd flick through it to kind of like capture the gist, and if I noticed any sexual language, I'm like, yep, that was cool. It was like the equivalent to a teenage lad finding porn, I suppose. Like me finding these smutty books.
That's so funny. I just imagine you like leant over your bed looking at them, reading them over and over and over again. Like, yeah.
Like I say, like me and my grandma were both into reading, but bless her, she was very Christian, and if she had known I was reading purely for the smut.
Give her the books after you ripped them out. She'd be like, oh, that's better now. Thank you. It was disgusting before
I
that.
told you, didn't I, on the street, one of my ex's mum said about educating Jodie or whatever. She was like, I had to reread a couple of those pages, if you know what I mean. So I was like, oh God, I unfortunately do know.
So was she ever like, is this about you? Like,
Well, I
with
mean,
my
Jodie's
son.
not me. She is like, there's,
She's based loosely, but that's what I mean.
yeah.
Did it not make her go, is this
Oh,
you?
yeah, as in like, have you been?
That's what all 3 books are about. Joking.
Yeah, really, they're just books on alleyway sex. There's definitely one encounter down an alleyway or in a car park.
You'll just have to find out and buy them yourselves. Go to Amazon. I'll get them up after this as
Yeah.
well. John Parker, great Scottish man, created this book, Escape Route.
Wow, that looks well cool.
It's such a cool illustration, and it's all written in kind of like how he pronounces stuff in his Scottish accent.
Nice.
It's very funny, and it's very offensive. If you are easily offended, or even like you're not even
Mildly
easily,
offended.
expect. It's hilarious. What is an escape route? An escape route is essential if you want to stay scot-free and not end up in a prison or worse. This is a story about myself and the many tight spots I've got myself into and how I managed to escape scot-free. Indeed, I am a Scot and know the origin and meaning of the expression, so I've always known to make sure that I had an escape route to prevent me from ending up in the quicksand. And this just covers a load of little stories about his life and everything he's...
Kind of almost do a shout out to him by doing like ADHD hacks of how to escape certain sticky situations. You know, like
Yeah.
that hack that we were told where it's like, if I introduce you first, it's because I've forgotten their name. Stuff like that. Like,
That's genius. Wait, I'd forgotten about that though, just to be clear until you said that. So I'd have been like, yeah. One of the stories depicted here, if you can see the mountains yelling at him, I won't go into too much detail, but these 2 lovely twin sisters, girls that were planning on climbing Ben Nevis the next day, met John in a pub the night before. And he was like, never been up there myself, but he was like, I live round here. I can easily go up there in my flip-flops. I'll meet you tomorrow. So he puts a can of Stella in his pocket, a few joints, bag of the white stuff.
fuel bit rocket.
Just
fuel to
like,
get
yeah,
you up.
it's just like going up Bradgate Park. It's just a bit of a hill. Shout out if you know Bradgate Park. If you don't, you're like, huh?
And even Bradgate Park is quite difficult, you know, when you're marching up it, you can get out a puff.
Yeah, especially if you're as unhealthy as John is. It's like, you know,
Yeah,
he had a pair of shorts on, flip-flops, so unprepared. And it got to the point where he's tripping for one because he's taken all of this substance.
and it's in
And the
flip-flops.
rock is telling him, you're an idiot. You have effed up. Look
Oh,
how
that's-
stupid you are. And he's like, It's
Wow.
such a good thing, and he's just like the Rock's having a go at him basically for messing up, and it's just, and the woman police officer that he managed to. I won't go any further. You need to
I'm
get
gonna
some yourself.
Well, I've managed to not cough the whole time.
Well done, mate, and it's starting now.
Right.
Don't worry. Oh wait, is it? I just wanted
Can
to
I
get
just
your
say
things
as well
up.
quickly? Look at this. Obviously one of my fan
you.
people, Graham Hancock. But look, signed by. Hey.
We can never get you on, Graham, please.
Well, I did him a full like pack with a t-shirt.
I made you a picture.
Yeah, you did him a picture. I wrote him a letter, loads of shout out stuff, and then never even heard back.
Just didn't know how famous we were already.
I know, clearly.
Oh, come on, Graham.
We know you're watching, Graham. We know that we'd turn you down now because we're obviously above those heights.
He's scared of getting big time by us.
I think
that's the problem.
sure he's being hooked up to an ayahuasca, no, DMT experiment. Him and Joe Rogan, they're like,
That's hilarious. I want to see that.
yeah, they're like,
That's interesting.
it's like they're being drip fed it for so many hours, and then so that they can map out that world and work out if it actually exists, because everyone seems to go to the same realm.
It's interesting.
Very
I like the
interesting.
theory. I want to see how
I
that
do,
plays
yeah.
out.
If you need any more participants,
If
I'm down.
it was safely like monitored as I was
Yeah,
doing
no,
it,
it's a
sounds
proper
quite
scientific thing.
interesting.
19 views on that.
19, 64 on Mega High.
I was trying to get
23.
over 50 reviews for so long, and then I stopped watching it, as it were, like, because we were doing this, and my attention got diverted. And then I went back to it. I was like, oh my God, I've got over 50 reviews. Did it. I was so pleased.
I love that. Well, if you haven't already, get yourself the Mega High, the Jodie trilogy.
Yeah.
As well as you've got the Narcissist Notebook, the Poetry, Lyrical Instinct, all great reads. Strongly recommend you getting them and leaving a review.
Yes, please. Even download it on Kindle or order the paperback and leave me reviews, because it just helps it reach new audiences. Most self-published authors never sell over 100 copies, but I've sold over 1,000, so I'm really pleased. And
Keep them in.
I got turned down by so many publishing houses when I was first trying to get it published in contract, and they were like, people just aren't reading this. Well, people are reading it. And back then I got offered one, but if I took out a load of the swear words, because there's quite a lot of F words in Mega High, and then now there's books on the shelf with the F word in the title, like, come on.
Too ahead of the game.
I was too ahead of the game. Maybe I should retry sending them. If only I could find the actual originals. I have no idea where they're saved.
Just send them then. If you want them that bad, I know you do.
Yeah, here it is. Oh, shout out. Sarah, she's reading Mega High.
Hey, don't forget to leave that review. You need them. But yeah, it's fun. I like talking about just books in general.
Yeah, I do. I was thinking, if anyone is interested in book reviews, then we should do like a kind of once a month. I'll tell you what book I'm reading.
I love that. That's a really good.
Like,
yeah.
Lindzi's reads.
Lindzi's reads. And guys, I've just heard how terrible I am with my reading schedule. So you need to come in, share the stories you've been reading, so that Lindzi's not alone.
Yeah.
And my one book a year might not be that valuable in this club.
Thank you, Tourmaline Queen.
Thank you
She's
so
enjoying it.
much.
But yeah,
I always hate this book because I don't want to go, but it's time to let people go.
I know. Spirits have been lifted.
Rejuvenated again for another week, and we hope that you are too. If you want to download any of the resources that we have free on our website, there's no catch, completely free. Don't have to put the right email address in. Go to www.adifferenthumandesign.co.uk.
Do you know what I've just thought? I know that we didn't shout out the Patreon at the start, so I'm going to do it now. And ironically, the second person to ever sign up was the ex that I mentioned about the Dragon Ball Z. So shout out, Deck. Thank you so much for supporting us from the start with your Patreon payment. It is very, very much appreciated.
Oh, I love that. Okay, Deck, this episode is dedicated to you, my dear, and you must be feeling it with Akira Tayum.
Oh yeah, certainly.
So I hope you're doing well, dude. This one's for you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your support. And if you want to get shouted out, head over to our Patreon page and sign up.
Patreon, just search a different human design into Google.
Yes, and it'll come up.
In Spanish, maybe. I'm sure it won't for you. It was just my crazy computer. But until next week, have a beautiful end of your week and start of next week. And we'll see you for another midweek mayhem next Wednesday. Have you got anything else you want to say to the peeps before we go?
No, good. This is
And this is Lindsay.
different human design.
And this is a different podcast.
Why is it like this? Instead of hate, it should be love, we invite it. You don't agree, then you're the problem that we're fighting. Open up your mind, stand up, become righteous. Why is it like this? Instead of hate, it should be love, we invite it. You don't agree.